Nice.
And you're
watching this.
Everyone. It's okay. I can privatize it, and then I can delete it. But just for now, that's good.
So nice. Again, it's a true honor for me being here. First of all, for Ed, and because I was in your seats 2 or 3 years ago, and so again, for me, it's a very emotional situation. And thanks again, Ed, for inviting me. I believe that the best goal is that if you take something away from my presence here, so as we agreed with the head, I will do, of course, a short presentation just to tell you a little bit more about who I am and small things that I've done. And then afterwards, please use all this time that you have with me to bombard me with questions, and hopefully I can, if I can answer and help you in any way. So again, my name is Marco Scotti, and I come from Italy, from the south of Italy. I've done Regents University master in mine was entrepreneurial management, so I believe it was very specific, and Ed was leading my course. Figaroo is my current startup, and is my third startup. The previous two were in the United States, first in New York. We became partner with Facebook with that one. We moved into Silicon Valley. I personally spent 1 month into Facebook HQ in Menlo Park, so it's been an incredible experience. That startup closed. I immediately started another one, just a consulting company to help companies from Europe to arrive into the US. They made me an offer to sell the package of clients that I gained at the time, so I sold for a small amount that company. And I always have had Figaroo in mind and London in my heart, of course. I'm from Italy, and believe me, the difference between London and the United States is huge. I just love London. And also, it's a great time to start a business here. It's always been, UK and Europe is still #1. But in this particular moment with Brexit and all these things, we have the feeling that British government wants to stay the first in the EU to attract startups. So the incentives and the money that are flowing from the government, I will tell you about it in a minute, are incredible. So if you guys actually tell me a little bit, are you already started? Are you thinking? Are you wondering of starting a company at any point? Any of you?
Tobias, he started no. He wrote recently, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I developed my idea for myself. Because I'm at the beginning, I'm just joining this course to get a feeling and idea of that. Because primarily I prefer to work in an existing company.
Okay.
To reduce my own risk.
Right. You have the dream. That's
yes, maybe to be my own boss. Yeah, of course.
Right. I believe that everyone at a certain point wants to be his own boss. It's not always possible, of course, because you need a lot of experience and a lot of skills that you still have to learn. But let me spend one word quickly on the work environment as well. It's shifting a lot, and so big companies, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, the biggest in the country, in the world, are trying to make all the employees like entrepreneurs. So to responsibilize them. If you see on Fridays nobody goes to office anymore, for example, you are always allowed to work remotely. So the old scheme of the boss controlling all the employees is dying as well. So I believe that even if you are not immediately about to start your own company, it's anyway always good to keep an entrepreneurial spirit inside of you. Just take Andrea, for example. He, again, just joined maybe 3 days ago, 4 days ago. But it's honestly out of my mind of managing him as an employee. I'm 28 years old myself, and I don't know. And I don't want to manage employees. So Andrea will have his task. He will act as an entrepreneur in my own company, and then he can organize himself. He can go to Caribbean. I don't care, honestly. The important thing is that he gets the job done in the same way I had some tasks to make done. But no control is the new direction. So again, try to keep entrepreneurial spirit of success and specialize in one thing as they will hire you as entrepreneurs. Anyway, I believe that this important thing for you is to maybe the thing where you can get the most benefit is my little bit of journey that I've done, in particular starting from idea. The biggest challenge that I have is that when I have an idea, even if maybe I don't want to create a company straightforward, but when I have an idea, it looks so far and it looks so hard to have funding and have the team and have the product to be able to even not think about taking a job. Some people, want to leave their job but don't know how to start their company or don't believe enough in it. And mostly often the lack of capital is the biggest problem. Because probably any of you could start an idea today, but you need 50, 60,000 pounds on a bank account ready just for your company. It's not very, very common to happen. So just for your knowledge, I want to go briefly through this, and that's particularly to London. So if you are thinking of starting here, this will be very, very useful. So I would say idea team product funds. I didn't say idea to funds because otherwise many things get lost. So very quickly, the most important thing for the idea, and again, listen to me because that's valid even if you get hired. So you have to have your own space. Idea/space, it's something you're super passionate about, not just because it's a nice word to say, but because trust me, you will work 24 hours per day, 1 year, no weekends, no holidays, no stop. And again, even if your contract in the company ends at Friday at 5 p.m., you will not go very far inside of the company if you don't give that extra effort. And you definitely don't want to do something that you hate. So the most important thing is to specialize in something you love. You can never get enough of it. So you can work with no limits. Something that you prove exceptional skills already, or you are developing these skills if you are still at university. For example, my biggest passion is to drive. I was driving as a sport as I was young, and it's my biggest passion, but I didn't prove exceptional skills in it. So it's important also to choose something you showed you can do it. Focus on the pain, your pain and others' pain. Why? From pain, and that's something that Ed actually was the first saying to me, customer pain is where money lies. When you realize that the customer has a problem, or a friend or family member, anyone that you know has a problem, and you have the solution, I hope that for friends and family you don't charge them for to get the solution. But when you identify the problem, people want to solve, you are in the position you can actually sell something. And that's the very, very beginning of even thinking of creating a company, right? Making money. That's what we are talking about. So focus on the pain that nobody else managed to solve, or that you believe you are better in solving. Solution, again, equals making money, because at some point you will find yourself shaping the solution that you have in mind in a way that, and it's called business model, right? In a way that when you sell it, you make money and you are sustainable and you are growing. When you had an idea, again, it's still you're still at the start, and you move because the next thing is capital, and I believe the first thing that you should use capital for is the team. Very honestly, alone we count less than zero. We are no one, and it's not simple to enter in this mentality, but especially in London or New York, or when you face very important people that they've done a lot of incredible successes. You arrive there, you just have an idea. You have to know that alone you are zero. But with your ability to attract other people around you that actually marry your solution and believe in you, and this team starts to enlarge, you realize that when you have other players together with you, probably nothing is impossible if you keep these people interested to you and to your company. That's actually is equal to getting hired by a company, because you will become one of their team members. So they have to count on you, and as a tool, or as an help, or as someone else that believes in their vision. And if your performance helps the whole company to reach the goal, like a football team, you have to score. Trust me that nobody will like you never to leave. They will respect you. Your paychecks will increase very quickly in London. So that the team is something that it's very important spending some time on. Very quickly for the okay. You evolved. You made some investments. So the first problem with team is that it's a friend of you, and you are at university, probably with some equity, like some shares of the company. You can really motivate someone to join you because again they share your vision, but sometimes not. In my case, I was alone when I founded Figaroo 9 months ago. So the most important thing for me was having a little bit of cash. Some of the contractors or the marketing agency or the developers, unfortunately, won't work for you unless they get paid. So that's very, very important point to focus on. And the beauty of being in London, as I said before, is that the government is giving, guys, believe me, a shit ton of money to startups to get started. And to, they even didn't request the money back in many cases, just because they want to be, again, the leading country in the EU. In my personal experience, I received £25,000 on day zero in 2 weeks on my bank account, just filling a business plan and a financial forecast. Of course, you don't have to write bullshit on it, but honestly, you don't need personal guarantees, you don't need guarantors, you don't need anything. You just have to have an idea and write it on a business plan, and the idea just had to make sense. For example, if any of you just wanted to do that, it's enough to ask Ed for a pleasure, or someone of your friends that works in a business environment to review this business plan, and it's done. £25,000 per founder on the bank account, 2 weeks. That's something. I come from Italy. From Italy, it would be impossible. I don't know about other countries in Europe. Honestly, in the US, it's not been possible for me to receive this amount. So, guys, keep this into account. And then, if you want any details, it's Virgin startups.
Yeah.
And it's saving. Yeah, it's helping a lot of startups to get created. With some cash, 25,000 is enough to live for 6 months in London, to attract the team or people that believe in you, maybe a little bit of cash, a little bit of equity, delayed payments, invite anything you have in mind to, make a treasure out of those £25,000 if you're alone. And select people that are always better than you. Of course, if you are someone that is worse than you, you will not go very far. Your goal at this stage is to attract and interest all the people via LinkedIn, via articles, via companies that you know. And trust me, when in London, it's beautiful for this as well. When you say, hey, look, I have an idea, I ask for your suggestions will be helpful to realize my dream. The amazing thing is that everyone say yes. It's something that honestly amazed me. Again, in Italy, if I want to talk to the CEO of a big company, he will never reply to emails or LinkedIn or SMS. It's impossible. Here you can text to everyone for 5 minutes, not more, but everyone would say yes. So if you are prepared, you can change your life in that 5 minutes. It's true. Never hire in the same position, especially in the beginning. You will have like 15 fields of tasks to complete. If 2 people have the same skill, they do one thing, all the other 14 fail. So try to hire. For example, the first hire I made was a developer, because I can't even write one single line of code. So I needed someone in that position. And I'm not very good at marketing, for example. So Andrea, who showed this interest in marketing, right now is having the whole marketing responsibility on his own. So it's very important to cover as many positions as possible, different from yours, so to be an effective team. Also, pay attention at the team, because many startups fail because the founder fight, they don't get along very well, one gets hired by Google somewhere else, and the company fails. So if it's your dream to take this company to success, remember to choose the right people that are tied in with you and with the project, but also to always save yourself from anything that can happen. Even if a team member leaves, you have to make sure that your company will resist. And you actually can understand it when you meet people in the first meeting, if they are motivated or not. So you have a little bit of cash. Maybe if you're in 370,000, £5,000 are not bad. We are in a situation where your next goal is the fundraising. So just for your information, on December, I've done fundraising with Figaroo. I raised £188,000 for the company. And all I had was an MVP, which is a very important word that you have to remember. It means minimum viable product. Guys, it doesn't take anything. It can be a landing page. It can be like a super light prototype, or even a WhatsApp group that shows interest about what you're doing. Please believe my word. It's that simple. I will tell you quickly about the story of a startup in Silicon Valley that wanted to deliver food home by home, while still Uber Eats or all these other apps didn't exist. And they had zero money. They didn't ask for any money. They just created a landing page saying, hey, put your address here. These are the restaurants that we operate with. These are the areas we deliver in, with the menus of the restaurants, which they just stole on the restaurant's website. So very easy. They didn't have employees, cars, anything. They didn't have anything. They received, like, in 3 days, just from university, like 300,000 requests of food delivered to their doors. Now put yourself in the shoes of an investor. If you see such a great demand for guys that are asking like $20,000 or $30,000 in that case, which believe me, for investors are close to £3 for us, so it's nothing special. You will give it to people that showed such interest from the market. So very important. You don't need the app. You don't need the most beautiful app. You don't need anything. Just to prove in the again minimum way that the market is with you. You can use some money to develop this. Again, surveys, landing page, B2B contracts, very important. You don't need to have a company. You don't need to have employees to sign B2B contracts. It's business to business. So between companies, not between company and customer. With Figaroo, for example, which, by the way, I still didn't say what it does. Did I? No, because I'm focusing on you guys. So basically, Figaroo is a platform to share luxury experiences between invite-only members. So consider it as an exclusive travelers club. You need to be invited to be part of it. But it's not very difficult, at least at this stage. And you can. My main focus right now is on VIP tables in nightclubs. So something very funny. Probably you're alone or you are traveling. You don't know where to go. You can book and share. That's my differentiation with the competitors. A table with the other members of the club that are in that city. So it's very, very, very funny. And the people are actually very. Yeah, you get along very, very easily. I believe you definitely fit that profile. In future, we're adding villas and private yachts. So every luxury experiences which, if you're alone, doesn't make sense because there is a villa in Mykonos that costs £20,000 per week. Alone, even if I had £20,000, I would never spend on my own and then to have 25 empty bedrooms. But if there is a club of cool people, my same age, my same lifestyle, that wants to share that 25 rooms with me, at the end of the day, it costs less than a 4 or 5 stars hotel. So it's something amazing, and you have fun. And on the app itself, you have the nightclubs afterwards. So again, it focuses on the experiences. So coming back to B2B contracts, I really had signed, and again, don't ask me why, because I don't know, 20 contracts worldwide in New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, because I was there, Israel, Singapore, Paris, Saint-Tropez, all the most beautiful locations, by operating with promoters or travel agencies for villas, charter agencies for yachts that said, hey, we are not in a rush. We have our business already. We understood that you will be ready in 2-3 years' time. Doesn't matter. But I can sign a contract then that anytime that you're ready, I'm happy to host your people into my service, of course, because they make money, and then we split the profit from that. I didn't have, again, anything, no team, no product, no money, nothing. But in developed countries, companies are super interested in giving trust to these people. So in my particular case, 25,000 from the government, minimum viable product with the developer, surveys, Facebook, Instagram, all the hype that you can create, and 20 very good B2B contracts. I managed to raise £188,000 in 6 months. My first investors was back in July, £3,000, nothing special. He's £3,000 now worth £75,000. So he's very, very happy. He's working for a consulting company, and all of his colleagues, seeing £3,000 becoming 75,000 in 6 months, are interested in joining me, luckily. So again, never underestimate the power of your will, basically. Just to conclude, even if it's something that if you don't want to start a company, not something that you will be facing very soon, but just for your knowledge, the classic, it's called pre-seed. So every fundraising has a name in the industry. The pre-seed is usually £150,000 that you want to raise at evaluation, because you have to give a value as your company. In average, that's the situation: 150,000 at 600,000 pre-money valuation, which become final valuation, adding 150, so 750. It sounds difficult, but it's not. There are 2 different ways to do fundraising. The first one is the classic, so you go to investors, and by the way, forget about VCs. They will only look at you when you have revenues, at least a couple of million, a real product, a real team. So when you are 2 or 3 years in your way of the company, so just consider business angel. Have you ever heard of this term, business angel? Okay. And basically, family and friends are your first business angels. So don't ask everything to your dad, because if you fail, they will not be happy, but asking to help because it's needed. Angel groups, London is great. There's like 15 angel groups where you go there with the MVP and with some proof that customers like your idea, and will probably very likely give you that 150,000 check. So very, very useful. Single angels, so friends or family or someone that you, even on LinkedIn, they have angel investor in the title. So honestly, today it's very easy to target them. And if you really know that they are in your sector and you say, look, I need 15,000 pounds, again, these are wealthy people, so it's not a problem for them. Events in London every day on Eventbrite, check if you don't trust me, you have thousands of startup events where investors are there. You just pay like 20 pounds to pitch, so nothing special, and investments happen there, so it's great. Crowdfunding is I believe that London is the capital of crowdfunding. It's not even diffused as in the US. Do you know Kickstarter or Crowdcube? These are all types of crowdfunding. This one, Crowdcube and Seeders are equity crowdfunding. So crowdfunding where you already sell shares of your company, while a Kickstarter, probably you design a watch and people purchase the watch, but not the company itself. So that's the differentiation when you want to raise money and sell shares. These Crowdcube and Seeders based in Old Street and both in Old Street, so very close, will give you the possibility to go on the website, and everyone can even invest £10 for your company. So if you have a product that is customer based and is very easy to understand, of course, I mean, if you have regions that are 2,000, how many people do you have in regions? 2,000?
2,800, someone told me.
Yeah. So,
2328, something like that.
So if anyone gives you £10, it's really £20,000. And believe me, it's very cool to be there. So that everyone will need this £10. With the hype that you will generate by your immediate circle, there are 2 million visitors on the website every day. If they see you at school, you're receiving £20,000 from any source, very easy. They will very likely fund your company, and always banks use these methods to fundraise like 20 million. So it's great. So it's very, very suggested as soon as you have a consumer-based application, because these are everyday users, and the technology is not hard to understand. Otherwise, you have to go to investors and understand your problem, or if you operate with business, they have to understand that you have chances to win the businesses. For crowdfunding, it's even funny because everything you said is video, it's your story, you go out on newspapers. Honestly, I'm no one, but I went out on 12 newspapers in December just for having done a crowdfunding. So it's an incredibly powerful marketing tool as well. And like events or showing the prototype around, startups with founders that have the strong will to do it in London. And again, I know that maybe it's not your primary focus, but I hope that this short talk give you a little bit of more understanding of the sector. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. I'm going to keep quiet because I have lunch with you guys, so I can ask all the questions I've got. But
if you want to ask me anything, even not related to startups or any question you want to ask, if I can answer, it's a pleasure.
Is your business located here in London directly? Because
Yes.
you got investments from the government?
The government gave me the £25,000. It has to be located in London as soon as you are spending those £25,000, and of course you give them back their money. But then after that you can move anywhere without problems. But yes, we are based in London.
Okay. And you have to special rates and how much money you have to give back, or directly just the 25,000?
Yeah.
Plus interest rates or no?
Yeah, there is a small interest rate. It's 3%. It's not very expensive. And the good thing is that if your company fails, because unfortunately 90% of startups fail worldwide, you don't have to give this money back.
is this a small business loan guarantee scheme?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happens to the banks? Typically, the banks will come through them, but they have this backup story at the back that the government will cover if there's failure. But yes, the rates, you said just 3%.
And there are different providers, intermediating between companies and the banks. I suggest Virgin just because because it's a great company. They are very well organized. And someone says that sometimes when too many startups fail and they don't want to ask for too many money back from the government, Richard Branson covers part of this money.
I mean, it's interesting you're talking about Virgin. I don't know if you know, we have an alumni from the same masters, and he failed a lot of businesses in London, but struggles a lot. Is Jens Hannibal, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He had this company, I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, he got money from Richard Branson as well.
Okay.
And well, the business didn't work, but he's glad he did it because of many of the other learnings which he's now able to put into his new business. So I think it's an interesting point. There is an ecosystem here of very different types and colors and shades of funding routes. You need to be here to get to them, but you're from Berlin, right?
Originally from Frankfurt.
That's right. But Berlin has, I would say, relative to the rest of Germany, a reasonable sort of ecosystem funding as well, but it's not as low cost, you know, as it is in London.
Yeah,
Still the catching up going on for this question you're asking.
Yeah, so Germany is not the best place for startups. So
It's
compared to the rest of the world, sometimes.
No, it's the second best in Europe. So
Yeah,
it's not bad.
but if you're looking at the funding structures and the ease of accessing public, I think we're still, you know, the UK is still
3-4 times lower than UK. So yeah, like you being here, like your ecosystem at home, anyway, it's not a bad place to stay. Like I cannot go back to Italy, for example. You can go back to Berlin. Yes. These, it's
How many employees do you have at the moment, or is it just a
okay.
one-man show? Or?
No, until in the first 2 or 3 months was literally only me at the office, 24 hours, weekends and stuff. When I received the loan from the government, I managed to take 2 developers and 1 designer, of course the consultant, lawyer, the accountant, all this stuff that unfortunately you need. And then we had, like, in my special case, I'm lucky because with nightclubs I operate with promoters, so they are together with me in the company, but I don't have to directly pay them. So officially, I really have 20 ambassadors in 20 cities of the world. Of course, they don't work for me all day, but they anyway are part of the company officially. If you are asking about a more normal way of being a company, Andrea is the only one full-time right now, but we are about to hire a developer to develop the new version of the app, which will work full-time basically. And then I, as I was saying before, I believe that everyone should be an entrepreneur, even if it's working for another company, because entrepreneur means someone that doesn't just show up at work and stays for the paycheck and looks at the watch because he has to go home and do other stuff. Honestly, and just my opinion, you chose the wrong job. It's like this because you will work for the next 40 years of your life. Do you really want to spend 40 years in the I don't think so. When you are an entrepreneur, even if the company is not yours, it means that you are taking the risk anyway, and you are developing yourself in a way that you can serve other companies or your own company. Again, not like your colleagues that don't see the time to go home. That's I believe is the work environment of the future. So to answer your question, I hire a marketing agency versus hiring a person that just stays with me full time. Yes, he's sure of working for me even the next day until I fire him. But if it's an external agency, all the risk is on your shoulders, and I pay only if you give me the result. Trust me, as an entrepreneur, which anyway doesn't have infinite funds, you want the type of commitment. So I don't like hiring full time to people.
But it's an interesting point you make, even if you choose that you don't want to go to start a business yourself now, or you don't want to go to a small company to work with an entrepreneurial business. Big firms on their requirement now, maybe for the last 5 or 10 years, I've kind of had to learn from the likes of Facebooks and the Googles, and you've had the experience now being in the US, so maybe you can share that in a second. I'll say, we want entrepreneurial types when you come for a job. Santander, in the UK, who my nephew got recruited for, I mean, in their assessment, that's when you finally got through all the interviews and psychometric tests, etc. they asked them, they said, what are you bringing? And you said the idea, bringing that. They look for, do you have a project that you're going to bring to us? It's not that they take the project, but they want to know that you have this ability to drive your own future. Because many firms now don't want to give time to multiple trainings that don't really last a long period of time. And they want it on the job, absolutely. And they want it on the job. So it's an approach, it's a method almost, and we know it's a method. But until more recently, so it's good you said it, Michael. It wasn't seen as something that was needed if I want to go for a job interview with McKinsey or Bain or whatever a bank like Santander. But now they do. And he was lucky enough. He had done some projects in his life, and he said, I would like to continue this now. He worked for 2 or 3 years. But I think it's very important to bring something, and this approach resonates with that.
No, recruiters. Absolutely. I'd say it's mandatory because Facebook and Google and those companies have been doing it for the last 5 years. But now all the other companies are adapting to this way of thinking because it worked for Facebook and Google. So everyone is taking this approach. Yeah, it's not like in the past, you go there, you get hired, stop. You have to explain how you will improve the company with a concrete project. And mostly often it's only in one specific space where you excel, even if you don't know to do anything about this. If it's marketing, if it's increasing the number of followers on Instagram. Now I'm just wondering if it's one thing that you are the best at doing with respect to everyone else, your future is assured. That's the word today. And now, again, guys, I will share my contacts with them. If you want to have some, as I was saying before, we have been lucky enough to get this opportunity in December, and we are growing fast as company. And as I was saying, the team is the first thing to invest money in. So I don't know currently you are studying university, but if you are thinking about any internship or joining other companies, and you like the startup environment, even if you don't want to be the founders yourselves, feel free to go on the website. It's Figaroo.club. Sorry, I probably
should. You have it.
Okay, you can request the access just to see how it works. But then please, and if you could share my personal email and you want to text me for anything or for job openings, I like to give back to regions. So students from you.
And I think let folks know who you're meeting, because you can see there's just a handful of us in this module. And the reason I'm streaming is actually to get folks beyond the classroom to know about you and others. Let people know that this is Marco's there, the company's there, the approach is there, there's learning to be had, internships. Some people want to stay in London for the internship opportunity. What I wanted to ask you guys, are you always a small group, or you'll have bigger modules and you're in conversation? Because most of you're all visiting, right? You're an exchange, except at light. So in your other classes, you have a bigger group of.
Yes.
Okay. So in that sense, you could always share, people like Marco around, let people know they're there. But in addition, I was saying to him, and he knows this because he was here, we have a campus that is specifically geared for folks who like to go to, exclusive members clubs if possible. And maybe not you guys, no, I don't know. Let them know that he's there, because I think it helps. And I think it helps it's an emotional ecosystem that you try to build in this business. To know people, to trust them. Then of course there's the other stuff, there's the network of funders that etc. But Eric, slightly different. You're from Sydney, or so it's a slightly different startup culture there, I think. Do you know it particularly well, or
not
still learning?
Well, we still have crowdfunding in tons of we have the very young districts that tend to be made by startups. So
nice.
Sydney
it's an amazing.
Where do you have your promoters at the moment? In different cities?
Different cities, London as well, of course. We have promoters working for Charlie, for the Bagatelle, Sumo Santuiga, Maddox, Toyrum. I don't know if you're familiar with some of those. Yeah, in London we have the major number just to get, because we are operating only here now.
Yeah.
But in future, New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Miami, Dubai, Singapore, Israel. Seemingly not bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Not wrong.
Just keep in mind that, because so for me, what is interesting is I don't know whether in Sydney you have that essence of the clubs of sharing tables at the moment, it's particular experiences, luxury type experiences. I'm sure there are. I haven't been there in 12 years, but whether it has the sort of scale and nature that would be interesting to Marco, you may be able to help them out and get back and start knocking into people.
Kind of. Yeah,
I don't know.
Depends on sometimes. It depends on the people.
Yeah.
Yes, the next step for us is when in April, hopefully the app will be out. I will anyway target universities first to acquire users, and because that's the perfect match of the ideal customer that we want. And regions, of course, will be the first one I will say. So in terms of job internship and stuff, if you know that you are connected in the regions and you have friends that enjoy this kind of clubbing, you are really 99% of being part of Figaroo if you are interested in it. So just for you to know. Thanks.
Anything else, question-wise?
One question.
Right.
What do you think was the most important experience which you collected from your first and second?
Right. No, that's very, very important point, I believe, because learning, unfortunately, means failing. I believe that failing is the most powerful tool from where you get learning from. And I said, unfortunately, just because some people consider the failure as a negative thing. Of course, if you see it in that specific moment and stop, that's a negative thing. But I would say the same thing if you break a leg and you just see it, it's bad, but you don't think that you will recover, right? And for example, in San Francisco, it's completely opposite, meaning investors will ask you, how many startups did you fund? If you answer 0, I can guarantee myself they will never give you a single dollar to invest in your company. No, because they know that funding a company is different from everything else. If you didn't fail 2 or 3 before, they are sure that you didn't make the mistakes that you have to make before being ready of taking their money and making more money out of it. While at the same time, if you really fail 3, you have, like, there is the diagram of the chances of failure. It goes down incredibly after the second time you fail. So to answer your question, since the first startup closed, and in that situation was because Facebook and Google decided to switch to middle Swift in the market, very expensive, making close all the startups of the ecosystem, not just ours. I realized that how big companies operate when they want to destroy other companies in the market. And very honestly, at that point, I've seen Facebook like, a paradise, like a company where everyone was happy and was doing good to the world. And I've seen how cruel they can be. So I thought, if those companies are that cruel, it means that, and the best one in marketing sense, it means that the worst one are even worse. And so it's been, a eternal ruin. For the second one, I was not doing something that I really liked, because again, it was consulting, helping companies to come into the US, but then they had their company, and that my job was finished, while I wanted to have my own company, my own product to develop, and that's why I insert the passion bullet point in the presentation, because if it's not passion, you are going to give up on 100%. So again, I will focus on failure. Being happy to fail fast and soon, because the later you fail, maybe if you have kids or family, it's not so okay to fail at that point. But if you fail now, honestly, you have 0 consequences. Probably we are lucky enough that your family will give you an hand to start again, and none of your friends will consider you an idiot just because you have done 2 or 3 things more than them. They never failed because they never did anything. You did something, so it's really something to be proud of. Again, failing now is 0 consequences. Fail fast.
I think from the first experience you had about the Facebook and the ability of big firms to affect the clusters around them, the ancillary, the smaller suppliers in the network, you become a business person very quickly. There's a difference between being, a startup founder, etc., and a business person. And you start, well, it's the beginning of starting to learn to read patterns of people's likely behaviors or companies' likely behaviors. So when everyone is chasing, currently whatever it is, I don't know whether it's Alibaba or whatever it is, and this is where it has to happen, this is everything that's right. You have the experience of, well, I need to just get on with what I'm doing and be aware that it could turn up any moment now.
Right.
And that is a resilience you start to develop, which you can't have it any other way. I don't think you can learn it any other way. How do we become resistant in the first place to diseases, to injuries, you said? It's from young, just scraping up against it. And this thing about it's start now, try these, even in the jobs. It's the failure that throws back the experience that makes you that much more resilient to move forward to what you will finally become. So I think, for me, it's very important that if you don't do it, and Marco did, that's why, it's very different from Lisa we had last week. She was surrounded already by a team, the young alumni from here. Again, luxury, but arts, okay? And she's surrounded by a team, friends, etc., pretty much on your own. And so I could see in his eyes the difference. You maybe met a year and a half ago when we had the coffee the last time you were in London. That you have to, you're still, there's the rough to go with the smooth.
Right.
And I prefer this experience that you've shared with these folks because you can't avoid it. If you hope not to avoid the pain of doing this, you will not going to succeed in many things in life. It's not a case of being a founder. It's not a case of being, a successful business person. It could be, in your personal life because it develops character that maybe you already have, but you haven't. The potential hasn't come to be real. And you start to. I can also tell that he's getting a better sense of himself in terms of his ability to move things in many ways. Right? And I do remember.
Yeah.
I do remember the time when Facebook was idealistic and he was as idealistic. And you're right. You should have that as well. I don't think you should.
Absolutely.
It's wrong not to have this kind of motivation, movement towards something. If you're ambivalent about too many things, you're in trouble. But that drew you to where you are now. I think the way you may be doing this. I'll talk more about that later. The other thoughts on it that you're thinking to ask or Lisa?
How did you start the first time?
The first time, it's a funny story. I was in Regents actually, and I read on my own. I was very passionate about this goal of bringing internet into developing countries because basically 2/3 of the world are not connected to the internet, which is crazy. So Africa, South America, part of India, part of Africa, of course, not everyone. But yeah, there are like 3 billion people without internet. So it was both something beneficial for the people to have internet and also very profitable because internet drives the majority of the economy of today, right? So if you travel, that it was very interesting. So it was a great combination. Long story short, I was here, and the TechCrunch Disrupt. It's basically a worldwide startup competition held in the United States. Actually, now Europe as well. They come to London now. Basically, it's the most important jury and prize for startups, and they only select the very best one. Startups compete on stage and get investments and stuff. And I heard one of these startups doing exactly the same thing that I wanted to do, but they were only engineers, so they were really missing a business person. And on my end, I had never done anything of coding or engineering, so I felt like a perfect match. And they had $200,000 as well, so they were, they could have saved me a lot of time and trouble. So I just texted them saying, "Hey guys, I'm doing this and this and this. I've seen that you are doing the same. That's great. Congratulations." That's it. They tell me, "Okay, tomorrow come to New York." It happens like this. But then, I think that I showed the drive to the founder of what I wanted to do, and that's why he gave me a lot of responsibilities. And probably I had even more than he had at the time. I don't know, and I was the responsible of entering partnership with Facebook just because I was. And you were right when you said that you have to have the drive and the dream, because having the dream made me, do 1 year in New York, all the sacrifices with the company not going well, and still trying to target Facebook and managing to target Facebook. If I had that consideration of Facebook, I would never have that much pain and money spent in New York to arrive there. So again, being idealistic is not wrong for itself, but then you have to apply it to reality. And that's what's my again, it's been startup closed, so you can say it's a failure. For me, it's been the biggest success because I was 23 years old, 24 probably, and I was in Menlo Park in Facebook headquarters. I was the youngest inside the campus. Zuckerberg was walking around. Honestly, I didn't care for a second that the startup closed because I was in such position, and without having been willing to fail, I would never have been Silicon Valley Facebook headquarters. So it takes, I don't want to say bad words, but it takes both. But yeah, if you never stop, eventually amazing results will come. And I'm sure that counts for if you want to start a company or get hired by the best company or become the best in the best company. Yeah, I know that's the drive that lets you right there.
I didn't actually need water.
No,
If you can help to mind. I'm just conscious that Andreas here, you've been very quiet. I mean, if you want to add or say anything.
No, but I know.
He's a maestro at, he'll carry on if I allow him, which I will. No?
Yeah, these guys will kill me at certain points.
Eliza, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Let's go eat some. I am starving. Let's
Okay.
go grab something. You must be kind of.
Guys, thank you.